Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Latency Community Recall event. My name is Sam Tonks, and I'm joined here tonight with my good friend, Two Tryhard Ray. We're going to be watching, not playing, I wish we were playing, but we're going to be watching some amazing Overwatch here for all of you, and I'm really excited because these are some pretty high SR teams that we're going to be watching tonight, Ray.
Yeah, if you remember correctly, we were talking before the stream and we saw one of the teams was one of the teams we cast in contenders, DK Fan Club. So there are definitely some top-notch teams competing in this tournament. So it should be quite the show for you guys to watch.
That's what's exciting is that, they dip their toes in contenders and now they're back out here in these community run events. And we once again just love community events. Pushing Overwatch out there more, getting it into more viewers' eyes is always a lot of fun. And it's always a lot of fun to be able to cast for these events as well. And so for our first matchup that we're going to be watching tonight, it is going to be Clueless versus Los. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Lacoyos. I believe I did. I'm like 99% sure. But they are going to be our first matchup for the evening. And Ray, they're going to be starting on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, Lijiang Tower tends to be everyone's favorite control map. It's going to lend itself a lot to Reinhardt type compositions with Symmetra, kind of brawling out in Control Center or Night Market. But the Gardens tends to be like the determining factor when it comes to Lijiang Tower. As Rush, you can run it, but the dive tends to be a lot better suited on this map. Like whether you want to play a Winston-oriented dive or if you want to play a ball-oriented dive, it tends to be better because you have a lot more space to be able to dive onto squishies in the back lines. You have skies to control if you want to play like Pharah with a ball diva. So normally when it comes to Lijiang Tower, Gardens can be the determining factor.
Yeah, Gardens. Gardens is always just that weird sort of pain point for a lot of teams as they're learning and adapting to each other. And Lijiang Tower is a really fantastic first map to be able to play on, to be able to understand how your enemy is going to play, because you have your typical compositions, but how well can they play these compositions? How well can they do these ball comps? How well can the enemy team be a Reinhardt and work around that brawl composition? Is your enemy team going to make the necessary switch offs when they need to? And how are you going to adapt when you are being met with some overwhelming force?
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite variations of the Reinhardt composition that works really well on both Night Market and Control Center is the Mei variation. You're able to really punish aggression out of Reinhardt's if you get a good wall off, completely wall them off from the team, from the Immort field, and then you're able to focus them down as a team. That's my favorite variation, but you could also, have like the Junkrat, like, maybe Cassidy or Reaper, where you're just spamming down a choke if you're playing Cassidy Junkrat, or if you're Reaper Junkrat, Reaper's getting in the face while you have all this spam in your face as well. So it's just going to come down to how well do you play your variations within your own compositions, and then like you said, when the time comes, being able to recognize this isn't working, we need to swap, and being able to make the correct swaps here.
Yeah, adaptation is going to be the name of the game for both of these teams. The SRs, they're pretty close together. I think only separated by 500 between the between the average SR. So while one team might have a little bit of a disadvantage, that's not to say that we can't necessarily count them out either, because just because your average SR is down doesn't really mean that you can't adapt. You can't learn from how your team plays, and maybe you catch your enemy off, maybe you catch the opposing team off on a little bit of a bad day, right? Maybe it's not going to be, maybe they're not playing as well as they could be. Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Even the best of the best in Overwatch, like people have off days. It happens. So, like you said, you can definitely catch people on off day. You can also catch a team, maybe they're, on any other given day, they're not as good, but they're just firing on all cylinders that day and they're playing well above their level. You could definitely fall into that kind of scenario. So, as this tournament begins, we're going to be able to just take a peek at all these different teams and see what we're looking forward to as the tournament progresses today.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this moment because as we are going to start that transition into Overwatch 2, we still have the 6-player teams, we still have the both tanks on the field, and now it's going to be this moment where these teams are probably going to this is going to be their last few opportunities to be able to do in events or tournaments such as this where, you know, you are going to have to eventually in a couple of months move on from that. And someone is going to have to fill a role that they might not necessarily be comfortable with. And these are the moments right now where Overwatch is going to be a lot of fun. It's having that synergy over the years, the synergy between your teammates, and being able to move forward in these games and to be able to continue to, adapt and continue to strive to be better.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, we just got into August here. I think we're exactly 2 months, almost exactly at this point until Overwatch early access comes out.
Yeah, I think
So,
so.
pretty insane. Like you said, this is going to be one of the last few tournaments, for Overwatch 1. I've seen this meme going around online where you got Reinhardt patting Zarya on the back and is like, it was fun, partner. And it's just like, oh, it's like so sad. Like, coming to an end, the solo tank will be entering the game. And like you said, it's gonna have to cause a lot of adaptations, or maybe when you're used to playing every single map, that might not be the case. You're splitting time with your off tank now. You both don't get to play at the same time. You get to play where the main tanks make more sense, then your off tank gets to play where the off tanks make more sense. So it's gonna have to be that will test the synergy, in my opinion, is when you start losing the playing time. How do you really start feeling toward each other?
Yeah. And here on Lijiang Tower, we get to see how well these teams are going to be able to play with each other because we haven't had the opportunity to be able to look at these teams too often and see how they are going to play, except for really DK Fan Club. And to have these teams to be able to see how they're going to work and see how they go up against each other is always one of my favorite things when we get to see new teams. And as a matter of fact, Ray, I believe we are about to head into Lijiang Tower. I think our competitors are now ready, and we are going to start our first match of the evening very soon here.
Yeah, it looks like we are starting out on Control Center here, Sam. So, like we, kind of touched upon in the beginning here, it's going to be a lot of Reinhardt compositions, most likely. It's just going to be which variations are they going to run. It looks like both teams wanting to go with the Zarya variant. Very interesting, as D.Va tends to be more of that jack of all trades kind of tank, can do so much with the defense matrix and being able to just crowd control with boots and all that stuff. But looks like they're going to elect to go with the higher damage output of the Zarya. Looks like Lakoyos wants Lost Lakoyos wants to go with the Genji Junkrat variation. Can really combo some good stats here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just about that combination where we're going to see if these teams' communication is going to be on top of that in order to make those reality. As right now, we're just seeing the two teams. Oh, so very low right there for Cass, but they are going to go down. A nice pin hits them onto the wall, and out they go. We do see Meg eliminating the Immortality field, and while they're sitting in the background, they're going to be able to take out the Soldier 76 on the opposing side. But really, at this point, it's kind of in the ballpark of Clueless at the moment.
Yeah, that's going to be all but lost there for Lakoya, so they're going to have to completely reset here. Nice job by Clueless. So with the variation they're running with the Soldier Torb, they're going to always want to have their turret in kind of an interesting, annoying place to kind of deal with their Genji Doomfist that they're running. As they swapped over to the Doomfist here, looking to try and control more space, and the window gets popped.
A window does get popped, and we already see 2-3 kills lining up. Vinci moving forward to provide the healing and sustainability to keep their Reinhardt alive, and that's going to be good enough for them to be able to allow the Torbjorn walk around and take out Amlo.
Yeah, exactly. So as I was saying, this composition here wants to have a little bit more space, with the Soldier being able to, shoot from afar. Torbjorn can even do the same thing, but when he gets into the brawly composition, Torbjorn can start helping us. That Beat's gonna get initiative. They're gonna start this fight, Sam.
Oh, they are gonna start this fight! but they go ahead and invest the Earth Shatter right there into a very poor position. The only person that they really got was the enemy Reinhardt, but it was so good that Los Coyos are coming in and cleaning up. And that beat was so necessary and was so helpful to allow them to do that here.
Yeah, you know, there's always two different ways you can use your beat, Sam. It's always defensively or aggressively. It looked like they decided, we're just going to go aggressive, we're going to get into this fight, and we're going to win it. The problem is, they're not going to have this beat drop for the ensuing grab from Clueless. So, Clueless pretty much has a free grab with no diva to use.
Oh, that is a very bold maneuver, and look at that huge anti-nade. Got a good chunk of the enemy team of Clueless right there. And look at that, Los Coyos, the Genji, just dashed right in. Everybody goes down. A nice grab, and I think they only really committed one ultimate, the Graviton Surge.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it comes down to just aggression and who is going to just use the ultimates first. And we saw there, Lakoyos did that beautifully as Clueless just was not able to pop the grab before Lakoyos, as they're going to pop the grab right now.
Oh, and there it is. It's a grab for a grab, and this one's coming up big for Clueless right here. They switch over to Hanzo, but a very bold maneuver to actually whip out the Dragon Blade right in the backline while your entire team is dead. You took out the Torpedo, but guess what, Ray? A turret still exists.
Yeah, not only that, Sam, but it was a Nano Blade. So two ultimates down for pretty much gaining nothing. As Clueless gets the point back, they're going to continue to defend here. They do have this Molten Core. You got to use it in some sort of rotation here, but they're going to get aggressive with this beat again, Sam.
Oh, right off the bat. And look at that. A huge 3 kills from Talaylock on the Doomfist. That's going to be big here. Allows them to flip the point back over. And Cooler, you can just see Cooler was like, okay, everyone's dead. I'm out of there.
Yeah, incredible there from Talaylock on the Doomfist. You don't see a lot of 3Ks with the Meteor Strike. You know, you normally use it to, you know, get yourself out of a bad situation. As we're going to see Meg Twink get the big anti-nade.
And right in the backline, you have Doomfist wreaking havoc. 2 members already down for Clueless. And sure, you managed to take out Talaylock, but guess what? You have a Reinhardt in your backline.
Wow, incredible aggression here from Lakoyos. They do not want to give any kind of space to Clueless whatsoever, but you're probably gonna have to back out here as you don't have your Doomfist, as Clueless is gonna make a composition assault to try and touch here. As they're gonna go to the ball diva, but it's not going to be fast enough.
Oh, that's unfortunate for them, and you can see Cooler had to use, I mean, they just used the Molten Core right there at the end to try and pave a way forward for the ball to roll in, but they didn't touch. There wasn't enough time, Ray.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough time, as you said. Coming into Night Market here, I will be curious to see if Clueless wants to stick this composition. It doesn't look like it. They were going to continue to do the Rhine Brawl. I was going to say, Ball Diva can actually work pretty well on Night Market, and it kind of counters the Rhine compositions that Lakoyos are being so dominant on. But interesting here, Sam, Clueless is not going to run the Symmetra variant here. So Lakoyos is already going to have the advantage of the team getting to the point first.
And that point advantage is going to be so huge. Look at that. They've already done it. And now guess what? They've set up here. Laylock is going to be the one to dive around. No one has detected them just yet, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Boosted C2K opens up with 3 final blows. And Clueless, even though Lakoyos was able to get there first, Clueless rolled right on in, and now they have control of the point.
Yeah, who needs the point control when your Hanzo gets 3 kills and just sets everything up for you? Incredible job there from Boosted. As they're going to want to push up and hold the, just not allow the players to take that much space, as the Doomfist is going to have a lot of range, but it's going to get killed by the Hanzo.
Couldn't get back there too quickly, and you're also having Cooler keeping an eye on that. Castle is getting a 2 kill of their own. They're pushing forward, and thanks to the Zarya bubble, is going to keep them alive for a very good amount of time. The sustainability is really nice. You have to use the anti-nade to heal Castle back up, and a good usage of their shield is keeping them going for such a long time here. Fortunately for Emlo, the bubble comes up, keeps them safe, and the rest of Clueless are gone. The point flipped back over very quickly here. Only 32% for Clueless.
Yeah, the shield management from Castle has been amazing so far. as Boosted will have this Dragon Strike here. What you got to look to do with this Dragon Strike is maybe cut some of the team off and separate them, kind of like a Mei wall, what you would use, you know, for Mei wall, and separate something. But they're going to initiate with the Zarya.
That nano boost, and look at how big that anti-nade was as well. It's going up huge though, as AMLO is able to wreak havoc amongst anyone who comes in this site. A fully charged Zarya with a nano boost is something to be feared. And the Aishinger has gone ahead and jumped off, regroup with the rest of the team.
Yeah, Sam, and Lokoyos, again, winning fights with just 1 or 2 ultimates, doing an incredible job. Only had to use the nano there, as they're gonna have, as Tuluk is just raining down their backlines, but the grab's gonna get thrown in, and the dragons.
Okay, grab dragon, and that is gone for the Lokoyos, but Clueless had to commit 3 ultimates into there. They used an Earth Shatter, they used a Graviton Surge, and they used a Dragon, and they used a Deadeye, so they used 4, Ray.
Yeah, they did, as Lokoyos looking pretty here. You can combo this Grav Blade. You're gonna have, you can do Space Jam, which is Graviton, and the Doomfist ultimate here, Meteor Strike. You got a lot of different combinations you can use here if you're Lokoyos.
Oh, and there we go, the Graviton Surge. The Meteor Strike was just a little too slow. Vinci and Fresco both committed their ultimates, and the amplification matrix where it's located is gonna kind of push the Lokoyos on the back burner for a second here, but that's not gonna stop Shapeless from killing Cooler either. So now we're gonna see the re-engage from E10. They have the Dragon Blade, they're gonna go ahead and pull it out. Their target is gonna be this Hanzo, who just goes ahead and presses the jump out of their button. Shapeless, though, is gonna finish that off with the environmental kill. Laylock is gonna return their attention onto Benji, who manages to kill them. But at this point, the Lokoyos, they committed a decent amount of ultimates there, 3, and they still have 2 to hold on to.
Yeah, Lokoyo's doing a good job of being extremely aggressive. So with this Doomfist Genji rushed out composition, you want your Doomfist and Genji to begin, initiate, start taking space, but as they're doing that, you want your Lucio and your Reinhardt to speed in with the Zarya, and then your Ana can just kind of heal from a distance, as we're seeing here. As they're gonna get the nano engaged here. It looked like the Rein got nanoed? Couldn't tell.
Oh, but that Dragon Strike right there was just in the wrong place. Look how low castled is, but a beautiful sleep is gonna save their life, and now, unfortunately for Clueless, they don't have much time left to touch. In fact, no one is gonna be able to touch. Los Lokoyos is gonna take Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, incredible teamwork here from Los Lokoyos. They're doing a good job of just taking advantage of the aggression, and Tlaloc on this Doomfist has just been living in the backline, Sam, as we're gonna see that amazing 3K Meteor Strike for play of the game.
We gotta be honest here. Laylock wreaking havoc in the backline, a 3K Meteor Strike. You don't get to see that very often, but then to continue to use that Doomfist to really massive effect was undeniably huge for helping Lokoyos to win through against Clueless there. And so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that, Ray, because some of the choices that Lokoyos had was really working well for them there. I mean, having someone in the backline to go in there, dive, and take out some of the squishier targets, or at the very least set the rest of your team up. And Los Coyos had the teamwork to be able to capitalize on what Laylock was doing.
Exactly. Excuse me. So, like we were saying, as soon as Laylock goes into the back line, you have your entire team aggress, so your supports are distracted, like, oh my gosh, there's a Doomfist in my face. And they're not having the ability to be able to heal the team as your team is speed boosting into their face and wrecking, doing lots of damage, and they're just not getting healed because there's a Doomfist stopping them. It's a really smart and interesting way to run this Reinhardt rush composition. And, you know, not only do you have a Doomfist, but they also had the Genji doing a similar job of what the Doomfist was doing.
Yeah, and it looked like things were going a little bit in Clueless's way on Night Market with the Hanzo and especially with the Cassidy being brought out, but it took a second because things were looking kind of grim there for Lokoyos when they lost the first team fight almost immediately. They came back though. They rewinded the tape and they figured out what they needed to do in order to go up against Clueless. And because of that, they were able to capitalize, get the point back, and even when Clueless was able to take it, they had to commit so much in order to even get the point back. I mean, 4 ultimates?
Yeah,
That's rough.
to me, when they were playing the Cassidy, we saw at one point they won the first fight, and then they did a decent job of holding it for a little bit. We saw the Cassidy kind of doing a decent job of, you know, holding back the Doomfist. But whenever things got chaotic and, you know, where comms can be all over the place and you got so many heroes in so many different places, it seemed like the comms and the teamwork of Lakoyos were winning out in those scrappy fights more often than it was for Clueless.
And now, with Lijiang Tower being in our rear view mirror, we're going to go up into the Australian outback of Junkertown. This is one of my favorite maps to see teams go up against each other on, Ray, because it goes from open to closed to even more closed, and there's so many opportunities to disrupt the either side, defense or attack.
Yeah, I like this map because it's kind of almost like a Gibraltar situation where you're gonna see sniper battles, and sniper battles can be a lot of fun to watch in Overwatch. Just Widow v Widow, Ash v Ash. It just really gauges the skills of these players and just how accurate they can be.
Well, and the good thing for Lokoyos, and I was going to ask you this, Ray, because Laylock looks like they're going to be sticking on the Doomfist.
Yeah, you know,
Is that a
especially
Roadhog?
Yeah, I do see a Roadhog. You know, defensively on this first point, Doomfist, you know, can control high ground pretty well with his uppercut. The second point and third point is when it tends to get a little bit tougher for Doomfist. But running this hog ball is interesting. So what you're going to be looking to set up in this hog ball is your ball's going to be looking to roll around in the backlands, cause distraction, slam, and as soon as that happens, you're going to look for hooks. But Boosted gets the better end of Tlaloc, as that's going to be a Doomfist back to the spawn door, Sam.
Yeah, Boosted on this Widowmaker is going to be able to take those nice, sweet angles that they want. The only person who could really contest against them is going to be E10. Amlo, get healed back up, topped off, make sure to hold on to that. Take a breather and a beautiful hook onto Doctor. Has to use their shield ability to get themselves back up and hold on for a second longer here. But thankfully for Castle, they're able to go into the back line and get rid of the Widowmaker. So Boosted can't really hold on to that too much longer. But look at that huge anti-nade. Oh my word, Fresco is down and Doctor is low on their health. They can't hold up for too much longer, but no one to be able to capitalize on that. And it looks like we have a Roadhog up there. Oh, but an environmental kill from Shapeless.
Incredible. The difference between these two compositions, between the ball hog and the hog sig, the hog sig wants to be a lot more patient. They're a full-on poke. You're gonna have Boosted on this Cassidy and Cooler on this Ash. They're gonna just be looking to use the Sigma shield and look to poke and find a pick and then move in. Los Sequoias on this ball hog want to be a lot more aggressive with this Doofus Genji, looking to dive upon people, but the Zen gets the better end of the ball, Sam.
Oh, yes, it does. Zenyatta is a force to be reckoned with. And even though he doesn't have that snap kick just yet, Clueless is wreaking havoc. They are pushing forward. And in the back line, though, you still have to worry about E10 and Laylock. Boosted on that Cassidy is going to get rid of these nuisances that are causing so much pain. The only one who could really stop this and contest his cart is Castle. They can't stand up to Benji.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this was a smart swap here. So they played the Widow, got the first pick onto the Doomfist, then swapped over to the Cassidy here, especially since Castle has been playing Ball. Having this stun for when Ball tries to come into the back line to try and dive your Genji is just so valuable. So I think this was a very smart decision, Sam, as we're coming up here on second point. Lots of ultimates for Clueless, but I think this could come down to a big flex here as the whole hog's gonna get initiated.
Whole hog is initiated, and now they're down. 2 members are down. They committed the mines as well. And in the corner, E10 couldn't finish off. Or Benji. Thankfully, Boosted come up into the back line to help out this lone Zenyatta who is being bullied in a corner all by himself. It was almost like bait Ray. Everyone who tried to fight against Benji died.
Yeah, incredible. I was actually thinking the same thing, like, uh-oh, Zenyatta, but then he got the better end, like you said, kind of baited him almost. Kind of crazy here. Clueless looking like a whole new team with this composition they're running here with the ball sig. Yeah, just I mean with the ball with the sig hog. I'm sorry, not ball sig. As Lakoyos has swapped over to the ball sig, they've dropped the hog. I do think it's a better decision to have the secretion, the shield to eat, just more utility with the sig.
All right, now we're seeing E10 taking up this high ground position. They're more than likely going to want to try and whip out the Dragon Blade, which is what we saw right here. But you do so, you used your deflect, you went right into Bob, and the rest of your team is kind of fighting out in a different area, and you're already so low on health, no one bring you back up. Castle is putting in the work, though. Slams right onto Cooler, gets a double kill onto Doctor, and the rest of Lokoyos have to get back to the payload now.
Yeah, as that's going to be a reset here for Clueless. Lakoyos did a great job. That nano onto Castle saved the day. Meg Twinkie did a good job. Got a huge kill with the slam nano onto the Ash, onto Cooler. So Clueless coming back into this fight. They can initiate here with the high noon, and if they want to wait for it, window flux is always such a powerful combination here.
And I think Castle is waiting to drop down and put the mines onto the field, and that's what we are seeing here. Push him up in the air. The immortality field does come down, but the area that Fresco is in, what was that? A double kill rollout gets both of the supports on the side of Clueless, and Castle is not wanting to let this Roadhog get away. You are able to get the hook. It looked like they were so close to getting Aishinger, but they were not wanting to risk that. Instead, rolling back to the safety of their team. A good idea, in all honesty. No reason to risk your life. They do see a juicy little Cassidy hiding out there, but once again, it's all about restraint, Ray.
Yeah, Castle's doing a great job of controlling the limited and like almost like narrow chokes that they're having to work with here. Just being able to roll through, cause so much havoc, and then just roll on out of there. Doing a great job here on the ball. This flux is going to get initiated, but the high noon's going to get popped, and it's going to get the Lucio.
Ooh, and now with Lucio, they have to worry about not having the speed boost to be able to get out of there. E10 is just wreaking havoc on poor Doctor right here. Has to use the deflect, but gets hit with the accretion and eliminated quickly from that. Castle is rolling deep into the backline, probably trying to pick up as many med packs as they can before they re-engage back on the payload to buy as much time for the rest of Lakoyos to get back there. Gets stunned and caught out with a hook almost immediately, though. And there we are, point B by Clueless.
Yeah, nice job from Clueless to kind of regroup, focus, and they played the composition how it needed to be played. They didn't rush into anything. They played it nice and slow, used that high noon from boosted, got the Lucio, and as soon as they had the man advantage, you pushed in with this composition, and they played it beautifully. As Lakoyos gonna not make any kind of swaps. It's been doing them well so far. As a nano boosted dude gets the gas.
Nano Boosted Doom is going to do a lot of damage, and now they're throwing up into the air with a Meteor Strike. But thankfully for Fresco, they were in just at the right spot at the right time, read that situation as well as they could have. But with how deep they were, it was unfortunate, especially when Vinci comes up on the Brigitte.
Yeah, as the window's gonna get popped and buy some more space here for Clues to continue to push the car. They do have some enemies afoot in the back line, as Lakoyos is going to look to reset here, however.
We're gonna see if E10 is gonna be able to use this Dragon Blade a little bit better than they have been. A nice anti-nade. Cooler almost goes down, but they're gonna hold on for dear life. And now with the Blade being committed as well, boosted though, kills E10 while they had the Dragon Blade. And it was all thanks to Fresco's immaculately timed immortality field that saved the day for the entire team there.
Yeah, it was, like you said, well-timed immortality field. But as you continue to push this cart, you're going to kind of get into the situation of how it works on 2CP. You're going to have to start to get full team fight wins here to be able to push the cart all the way. You can't just trade back and forth as the spawns are going to start to go way in the favor of Lakoyos here. And they're going to have this flux here for this next fight. You know, one thing that could be interesting if you're Eichinger, the Roadhog for Clueless, look to try and hook this Sigma out of flux.
Ooh, it's gonna have to be very careful here. Boosted eliminates Laylock, and now we have the amplification matrix coming from Doctor, but where Amlo was so low on health, literally 30 HP, and now we have Boosted finishing that off. They need to get the healing out. You can see Meg Tweaking and Castle rolling around with each other to get the healing back. We have Shapeless on the Moira, who almost has their coalescence, but with Castle out of here, no one to really distract. We are into overtime though, Ray. Someone needs to touch the card, but no one did! Because they're all dead!
Yeah, that came down to the aggression of Clueless. They had the ultimates. They decided, you know, this composition we play, it's supposed to be patient, but we have the ultimates. Let's get aggressive here. And they got them out before Lokoyos, you know, won the team fight without trading whatsoever, and then just was able to pick off the stragglers so incredibly fast as they were trying to come in and stall, but they just had such good focus fire that it did not matter.
All right, now we need to figure out what is going to be Lokoyos' win condition here as they go on their own attack. The Doomfist Genji combination, I don't think was working out really well for them here, especially with Boosted on the Cassidy. I think they had it locked down, especially Cooler 2 on the Ashe. Anyone who tried to get in the back line, she could just coach gun away to safety. And it was also Fresco on the Baptiste. You throw down the lamp, you keep them safe for just the second that they need in order for Boosted to be able to pop off and take out E10.
Yeah, if you think about that competition they're running Hog, they had Sigma, they had Cassidy, all three who have CC control to try and deal with Doomfist and Genji. There's a stun, there's an accretion, and there's a hook. So it was doing a good job of countering what they were playing. As it looks like Clueless is going to swap over to a Ball Sig kind of composition. So again, it's still kind of a pokey composition. Ball's going to be looked to roll around, cause some chaos, set up some slams for Cooler and Boosted to get some headshots. For Lokoyos, they're going to go back to this Rein Zarya composition with the Doom Genji. I don't like it as much here on Junkertown as I did on Lijiang, as Clueless is just going to have free high ground and not much you can do to take it away here if you're Lokoyos.
And right off the bat, too, they already have Fresco on the Brigade, not leaving anything to chance against Laylock and E10. But with the position that Cooler is taking, he has to regroup with the rest of the team. You can see already 2 people down on the side of Clueless. So Lokoyos is having a decent push themselves right here. The Reinhardt comes up forward and start gaining that space and taking that space. Cooler so low on health, but with the how out of position they were, Shapeless found them out. E10 sees a sleeping little ball. They wake them up with a quick shuriken to the face. They are gonna roll away, but they are low on health. They need to get back and they need to find where they want to go fast and get out. There we go.
Yeah, they should be able to get to their reinforcements, get health, and then be able to roll in and stall the point before before it gets delivered. So that was a nice job there. As noticed, it looks like they're going to elect to do that. I mean, fair enough. They're going to elect to just completely regroup on the second point here, as they have swapped over to a Rein Ball composition. And I'm just not a big fan of this composition. I mean, Eikener is going to do a good job on the Ball and get the Doomfist, but Ball and Rein just don't have a lot of compatibility together, especially with the supports they're running. You know, you could try and combo slams with your Ball and maybe have your team rush in with a Lucio with the Reinhardt, but you don't have that. You have the Baptiste and the Zen. So what is Reinhardt really doing in this composition other than shielding your Ashe?
And you really do have to keep an eye on where Laylock and E10 are right now. They're going up onto the backline. They're getting that flank. And with Doctor already gone, Castle is swollen right in, and a Meteor Strike takes out Boosted almost immediately. E10 on the high ground gets hit in the wall by the Doomfist Fist. And that allows E10 to finish it up thanks to the team damage here. And Lokoyos are having a really good second point push.
Yeah, as they're going to get the stagger onto Cooler on the Ashe and onto Eikener on the Ball. Just incredible work here from the Koyas. The aggression on this composition is really paying off, and Clueless just doesn't, like, they were putting their Reinhardt on the low ground there all by himself. What is your Reinhardt going to do there other than die?
Yeah, we're going to have to watch out and see how this Earth Shatter is going to be used, if it's going to be used to great effect. I think we hear a High Noon being activated. Oh, but E10, their deflect went down at just the wrong moment, and that allows Boosted to eliminate them with a dead eye shot to the face. Good on Castle, though. Even though they go down, they still have that Earth Shatter in their pocket. And if you look closely, Ray, AMLO is now has their ultimate, and E10 is going to be coming up with theirs very soon.
Yes, one thing that could be interesting, however, what I'd be looking to do if I am Ikener on this ball, when you hear the blade get popped, I might think about surrounding my team with the mines, so Genji can't just go in and start swiping at you like that without taking any kind of damage. I mean, obviously he can swipe through the mines, but that's going to take a swipe to kill mines, plus then he'll have to swipe at you. So I think it could be an interesting, smart play here from Venus.
All right, now we have both of these teams meeting up on the high ground. Doctor did use their Earth Shatter, but the shield was up, and it protects the entirety of Lukoyos. But it's looking like it's going to be rough times for them here, especially since the mines are going to be thrown inside of this building. And even though you have lost this team fight for Lukoyos, they didn't use any ultimates, Ray.
You're right, but Clueless only, they use the Shatter and they use the Mines. They still have lots of ultimates to work with here, so I don't know if that was the most ideal fight if you were Lukoyos. You know, obviously it was a dry fight, that's always good, but you didn't get them to use as many ultimates as you would have liked there. So, you know, this Bob here from Cooler, if you can get them while they're mid-rotation, could be huge.
Okay, Meg has the nano boost. More than likely to be looking for a big nano blade. Oh, that was a beautiful sleep onto Boosted, who is now going to be taking a nap and napped out of their Deadeye. But it doesn't really matter. The Clueless are still putting in the work. Lukoyos, they use the Graviton and the Earth Shatter. They still have the Nano Blade though, Ray. And they're coming up on Meteor Strike and the Beat.
Yeah, they do still have that Nano Blade. Like you said, they're coming up on the Beat. Clueless really only going to have the minefield here, so I think, my comment before rings true. Get aggressive when you hear the Nano Blade, maybe pop the mines and try. And I'm gonna say that doesn't matter. Cooler picks up Genji before he can even. Oh, actually, he did Blade. Oh no!
Yeah, that is going to be rough. Now it's gonna figure out where Meg wants to put their nano target. It's more than likely gonna be onto Laylock, send them into the back line and Meteor Strike them up. But Clueless in this entrenched position, Lukoyos just can't get rid of them.
Yeah, Sam, and the Koyos have swapped compositions full on here. They are now on a double bubble composition. They are playing the Winston Zarya. So they're going to hope to have... Oh, as the minefield, lovely place, forces the Meteor Strike.
All right, nice. We already have 2 picks from Laylock. It's going to be huge with that Meteor Strike. And Castle is going to be the target of that Nano Boost. And it looks like it helped out immensely there to finally take Clueless out of this high ground position that they've been in for so long. And this is going to be a huge sack if they're able to take out Eisinger here. They are not rolling away. Not today, Hamster.
Yeah, as they're finally going to get this cap, but all in all, an extremely impressive second point defense from Clueless. As they're going to swap over to the D.Va, so they're going to be playing Ryan D.Va now. This composition makes a little bit more sense. Ikener on this D.Va is going to be able to control high ground for any kind of Winston dives. So this composition that Quaos is running is kind of interesting. So they're running, this double bubble, but they're running it with a Doomfist Reaper. So the Doomfist obviously is going to be looking to dive in with the Winston.
The Earth Shatter through the payload! This is gonna put them into a really good position. Boosted in the backline along with Cooler is just laying down the pressure onto the team, and you can see that the Lukoyos have to split off into 2 different directions in order to survive. But a nice big anti-nade is going to put Dr. Boyfoy on the backline. Still they're staying up top because Fresco committed the lamp there. Ooh, Laylock, you're so low, but they're gonna be saved thanks to the work of Shapeless.
As they're going to commit the Bob here, but they lost their Reinhardt. Might have been a little too late there as they bought themselves the space, and they're going to get the D-Mex, and yeah, just a little too late there with the Bob.
A little bit too late, and now look at this. Amlo is at 100% charge, and they can push forward. Anyone who goes into their direction is going to have to watch out. A Graviton Surge can be really huge here, especially with Laylock, who has their Meteor Strike back up. This Meteor Strike has been so helpful for allowing the Lukoyos to at least get 1 pick to be able to push in and eliminate somebody.
It's not gonna matter if Boosted counters the Doomfist. Is gonna get 2.
It's the monkey. Unbelievable. There we go. Pushing them off, and Lukoyos is put there. Yeah, they have less than 30 seconds, so they need to go in as a full team here.
Yeah, so one final fight here. Lukoyos will have the ult advantage. They're gonna swap over to Ball Zarya here. It's gonna be a similar kind of style of play here. Just the ball's gonna have a little bit more mobility as E10's gonna get extremely low on the Reaper. But they have combinations. They can use the Space Jet. They have the Death Blossom here. They have the Nano. You can Nano Blossom here. That's a lot of damage. Just Boosted pops the High Noon.
Popping the high noon, but a transcendence from Benji is going to keep them safe for just a second longer here. Laylock trying to decide who they want to use the meteor strike on. It's going to be the lone cooler, but thankfully the rest of the team is going to come back, keep them full up on the help, but E10 is it was just a distraction enough to let them put that Death Blossom off on the back line so low that Eisinger went there. They were able to get back into the mech, even though they were baby diva for just a second longer here. Cooler takes out Amlo. Shapeless has to use the beat in order to stay alive, but with them all by themselves, it's just not going to be good enough. And poor Meg all alone as an Ana, you could not touch it in time. Clueless is going to be taking Junkertown, bringing us 1-1.
Yeah, what a nice rebound here from Clueless. I like the compositions they were playing. Obviously, we saw the Hog Sig with the Cassie and the Ash to really deal with this Doomfist Genji they've been playing. And then on the defense here, you know, after that Rhine Ball wasn't working so well, they go to the Rhine Diva, but they have the Cassie to go with it. And just did a much better job of waiting for that Doomfist and countering. We saw, you know, many times ago, oh, they have Space Jam here, we're talking about it, and then, oh no, the Doomfist is dead by the hands of Boosted. Just incredible job there from Boosted.
They figured out exactly, Clueless, what they needed to do in order to win, and I guess it was Boosted on the Cassidy, because once that Boosted was on that Cassidy the entire game, and they never left it, not once, because it hard countered against the Doomfist, it countered the Genji. I mean, when it's always the most satisfying moment as a Cassidy to be able to take out the dragon-bladed Genji every single time.
Yeah, exactly. And it even countered the ball they were playing at first. So the Cassidy was just doing so much work. And like we said, they had a lot of supporting heroes to go. They had the Brig, who has a stun to deal with all those kinds of mobile characters. They had the Sigma Accretion Rock. They had the Roadhog Hook at one point. So I just think they did a really good job of getting together as a team and thinking about, okay, this team really likes their Doomfist, really likes their Genji. How do we break that apart? And they did a great job of doing that.
Dismantled it almost completely, and it was sort of the moments where you saw Lokoyos. They kind of had the idea of what they wanted to do, and it was going really well for them on the first push. It looked like they were able to make that second push just as clean onto point B, but Clueless, once they were able to turn it back around onto Lokoyos, you couldn't really stop them. And sure, they were able to bring it into overtime on to point C in order for them to capture close out that round. But the Lokoyos, they got so close, but they couldn't quite get there. And it was just kind of like the combination of, I think, Laylock being a little bit out of position. It was kind of maybe a little bit disjointed. Lijiang Tower, they were perfect. It was almost immaculate. But here on Junkertown, kind of lost their cohesion.
Yeah, as looks like we have the next map in, Sam, and you know, it's everybody's favorite hybrid map. Can you guess?
You know what, Ray? I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this out there. Is it King's Row?
Yeah, it is King's Row, because that's where we're going. We're going to the streets of London. Gonna have a full-on smackdown. I think this is going to be a battle of the Rhine v Rhines again, like we kind of saw on Lijiang, and that did favor Lokoya. But we did see there at the end, the Reinhardt composition worked well for Clueless, but they weren't running the Rhine against it. So it's going to be up in the air here, Sam.
And this is where things get interesting too, Ray, because this is a 1-2.
Yep.
Both of our teams are now 1-1. So
How
here we are.
that it all comes down to King's Row, of course.
Exactly. This is where champions will be born, and we're going to see if Lokoyos is going to be the one to push forward, or if it's going to be Clueless. Which one of these teams are going to have the secret formula in order to create the delicious victory that they are looking forward to? Now, let's look at how Clueless has been doing. A little bit of a rough time on Lijiang Tower. Came back in Junkertown. It was still pretty close though, Ray. It wasn't a definite shutout on Junkertown. That much has to be said. So Where Los Coyos, maybe it didn't work out well for them there. Maybe Junkertown just isn't their map. But now that we're here on King's Row, the I think maybe the Doomfist Genji composition that they like to work with is going to benefit them more here.
Yeah, I definitely think this Doomfist Genji Rhine Rush composition they like to run can definitely be very effective on King's Row. But I think defensively here, I think it can really lend itself to obviously the Cassidy. You're pretty much gonna probably have to stick this Cassidy if you're boosted. It's just did so much work on Junkertown there. I'd be curious to see if they're gonna run some sort of like alternative version of the Reinhardt comes, or like maybe they do Brig Lucio because they want that stun from the Brig, the whip shots from the Brig, just to completely control and CC those Doomfists in the Genji, and just be able to hopefully continually proc Inspire and just be able to give packs to the Reinhardt. Reinhardt, obviously, unless you can continually proc Inspire, won't be getting as many heals as you would for like a BAP, for example, but it might be needed just to control this tempo that Lukoya wants to play at.
Yeah, and that is going to be so important, is controlling the tempo here, because honestly, I don't see Boosted getting off of that Cassidy. They were doing so well on it. They were able to, not only were they able to take care of the flankers that were coming into the back line, but they were also able to take care of the front line, even if they were playing Reinhardt or if they were playing Zarya or Diva or anything like that. They were able to handle the situation almost every single time. And so now here we are, Ray, Lokoyos versus Clueless. 1-1. This is match point. And we're going to be seeing what our compositions for each of these teams are going to be here in just a few seconds. But a lot is riding on the line for both of these teams.
Yeah, you know, obviously a chance to move on to the next round. It looks like defensively here, Lokoyos is going to continue to play that tried and true Ryan Zarya with the Doomfist Genji. But Clueless, I like what their answer here is. They're going... we'll see here. I like the Sig when they had the ball. I like the ball Sig if they're going to run that here. I won't make any comments until we know for sure what's happening here. But I do like the ball Sig. I think, you know, obviously to have the accretions for the control on the CC. Being able to have Pharah, if they were going to run the Pharah like they had, there's no hit scans available on Lukoya whatsoever. As it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. So I think this could be the anti-Lukoya's composition here that Clueless is running.
Okay, we're back onto the pharmacy. Yeah, the Bastion dreams are dashed. Boosted does get one shot off onto Shapeless, and thankfully for them, they're not gonna get hit. Laylock, you escape with a sliver of health, you lucky dog, you.
Yeah, as Cooler here on the fair is going to continue to just poke and hopefully got that
Shapeless
extremely low.
Shapeless is flirting with death ray every single time. I'm holding my breath here.
Oh, as picks are going to go back and forth. It's tough to see who's going to get the decisive advantage in this fight, Sam.
It really does right now for the moment. If Laylock goes down, that's not too big of a deal. They're Doomfist. They can get back incredibly quickly. Actually, they're going to go ahead and make the switch off. No more Doomfist. We're an Echo now. Benji so low has to use their heal to get themselves back up to full. And the reattempt from Clueless as they push back around through the statue, rotate here. Lukoyos is gonna get off the point, hang out back towards the hotel and hide inside, because you can't really take care of Cooler on the far end. That's such a good idea from Lukoyos. Laylock, no health. Cooler is gonna eliminate E10. Back up in the air they go. Rotate around the statue, try and hit the Echo as best you can, but you can't really do that. A nice charge from Castle to actually hit Eisinger, but they use the mines in such an awkward position, mostly I think as a safety maneuver. Shapeless does use the beat to keep themselves safe and allow the rest of the team, since they can't really get in there. And Meg Twinkie on the Ana is just putting in the work right now.
Yeah, doing a nice job here. Lukoyos is doing a nice, they're being able to back up and rotate around the hotel and avoiding any kind of spam from the Pharah. Then even the mines, when the mines separated the team, the beat drop came in very well there from Shapeless. And they're just doing a nice job of playing this patiently, not overextending any of themselves. Because I say that, E10 kind of overextends and gets himself killed.
Oh, Meg Twinkie just barely outside of that that gravitic flux. Goes up inside and kills Laylock now, though, but with both of the DPS down on the side of Lukoyos, this is going to give Doctor the chance to take out Castle to use all of that big potential poke boosted. Oh my goodness. destroys both of the supports, Meg Twinkie and Shapeless. Emlo has to escape with their lives. It looks like they're going to be able to here.
Maybe, but I'd be looking to try and get rid of Amlo. You do not want them getting out with charge, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. The Reinhardt was there with the shield to protect, but Castle goes down, and that's a huge stagger. No main tank for this fight, as you're going to get free cart progress, and on King's Row, if you can get the cart,
Nice.
it's going to get Amlo in the end. No charge either. So they're going to be able to get this cart past the bookstore, and that's huge, Sam.
Now we have Castle switching off the Reinhardt over onto the Sigma, so Lukoyos is making the quick switches that they need to as fast as they possibly can. But Lukoyos is in such a difficult position because no one can really stop Cooler, who has just been allowed to fire their rockets in the air for free. And you're forcing Meg Twinkie to kind of keep an eye out in the sky for them. Castle is going to be hooked by Eisinger, who's going to commit the whole hog onto the field. And look at this, while the rest of the team is down below getting attacked, you have Meg Twinkie attacking in the sky.
Yeah, it's your only kind of, scoped hero who can do anything, but the big beat's gonna come in for Shapeless, as the grab's gonna get ensued here, as it's not gonna net any kills, however.
Not really net any kills, but for Lukoyos, it did give them just a little bit of space here. They had to wait for Fresco to get back. But with the amplification matrix, they can easily gain that space back. And we're going to see that here. Cooler uses the Rocket Barrage, eliminates Meg Twinkie. Emlo is going to take them back out. And now we have the duplication on to the Sigma. Laylock already has their Gravitic Flux up, but they get hooked out of it and taken out of the duplication on top of that. But in the meantime, while they were doing all that, E10 had their Dragon Blade and had free reign to take out a couple members of Clueless. Still, we have to respect the Cassidy, who is doing so much damage. Another Gravitic Flux looks like it just barely catches Castle out, but thankfully they had not only a bubble, but a nano boost too on top of that. Doctor used that Gravitic Flux because they thought they could take him out. They were able to at least get rid of Amlo, but now it's kind of a awkward position for both teams.
Yeah, as they're gonna get their teammates straggling back on both sides, as we're gonna get dueling Sigmas here. Castle does have the value of this Flux. It's gonna get thrown in, Sam.
Oh, and we're going to see if this Valkyrie is going to keep everybody safe and alive for just a second here. We do see that Eisinger had to use the Take a Breather to stay alive, but it's not going to be good enough for them. We have Laylock on a Hanzo of all things, but there it is, the revive to bring up the Roadhog, who met their untimely end. That was a nice anti-nade, but a Deadeye for days. Eliminates both of the tanks, and Boosted is on a tear as this cowboy.
Yeah, so they're going to be able to cap point A here, or technically point B. Capping the payload is A in my opinion, but regardless, they get the point as they're going to be able to continue the push here. Benji will have this window here, so you can place it when you're rounding the corner to try and force out, Lukoyos to fall back, as we're going to get the swap over to the Cassidy on E10, so no more Genji. So they've already forced the Genji away.
Yeah, they're kind of in this position where we need to deal with the Pharah in the air, and especially with Boosted, who is on the ground. You have to worry about the air, you have to worry about the ground, because Boosted is doing so much damage. They are getting consistent pick after pick, and then two, on top of that, they were able to get the high noon kills. They got 2 of them, and you need to be able to answer that. The Doomfist Genji combination wasn't working, so good on Lukoyos for recognizing that and adapting a little bit late, but at least they're adapting now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how they were pretty much running the anti-Lukoyos composition, and we saw them immediately have to swap off that Doomfist to the Echo, and now they're getting rid of the Genji and swapping over that to the Cassidy. So, it seems as though Clueless might have found the kryptonite that might net them the victory here.
It's going to be so important for them to be able to figure out what they need to do in order to fight off Clueless, who has been pushing forward hard. There's a couple of moments where Lukoyos were able to kind of push them back for a second, but Clueless has just been kind of in control almost the entire time of King's Row. At the very beginning, Lukoyos had kind of the upper hand for a second, but then they lost it. And since they lost it, it's just been Clueless pushing in hard. And the only times where they really lose it is when Lokoyos has the ultimates to push them back. But once those are gone, Clueless, they are not clueless.
As Talaylock going back to that pride, the just pride he has in this Doomfist, as we do have this Flux online here for Lokoyos, but the Flux is going to get ensued for Dr. Bufoy.
All right, there we go, and the beat is going to help keep the entire Lokoyos team safe from that Gravitic Flux. You can see just how well Benji is using their Lamp 2 on top of that to keep the entire team safe. Meg uses the Amplification Matrix. It's going to create so much space for them to be able to stay alive. Laylock getting back to the rest of the team just in time here to get their health back up and the sustain to keep themselves alive. And you see the counter Amplification Matrix coming from Clueless is going to force the Lokoyos into this awkward position, and Clueless is just destroying Lokoyos here as they are so very close to getting this payload castled with just a little bit of health. This is Lokoyos need to go in, and they need to go in fast to try and stop this in overtime.
Yeah, they do have this D.Va bomb to work with, and if they can buy time, E10 will be coming back with the high noon. So it's getting close. They lose Shapeless, however.
I said overtime, by the way, there. We are still 40 seconds away from overtime, but it looks like Lokoyos are actually gonna be good. Unfortunately for Laylock, he's gonna be meeting the end thanks to Gravity, the most dangerous enemy in Overwatch. With the help of Doctor, they can push forward as quick as they can. A nice Gravitic Flux is gonna catch Fresco out. No more revives here. Castle is putting in some good damage with this Sigma push so far forward. This is gonna put Benji away from being able to heal their team, and now Boosted needs to get back out of there as quickly as they can. Ooh, they're being very cold.
Yes, they've gone back to this Rhine ball. As I said, they're on the ball D.Va. Okay, so they got Dr. Bufoy on this D.Va now. So they're gonna have to hope to get some touch, but they don't have anyone to touch in time.
That is rough. Very unfortunate. No one there to touch. Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so Lokoyos were able to make sure that Clueless couldn't get all of the way. 66.83 meters is still a good chunk of a distance that Lokoyos has to cover. And where Clueless were really good on attack, they're also, as we saw in Junkertown, Ray, really good at defending as well.
Yeah, not too bad, all things considered, for Lokoyos, as it was looking really rough there for a minute. It looked like Clueless was going to take that all the way, but it was a nice job with the D.Va bomb from AMLO to buy the time to get the players back, and then they were able to really concentrate and get the picks they needed, because the spawns do favor the defense there, obviously, as it's so close to your spawn. So they just got to make sure that if they're trading in that situation, they're winning essentially, because they're going to get their players back faster.
Exactly. It's going to start working in their favor more. They're able to hold them back a lot longer. And for Clueless, if Lokoyos does manage to get to point C, that is going to be so important for them to get those necessary trades and those picks. Lokoyos is going back to the comfort picks that they so enjoy over and over again. The Doomfist Genji combination is back on the field, and Clueless going with the double shield of Sigma and Orisa.
Yeah, lots of spam damage between the Soldier and the Junkrat, and having the Sigma and the Orisa. So this dive's going to have to be very methodical and very quick. And a big anti's going to help that, Sam.
Oh yeah, it is. And you can see that Laylock is going to go right up in there. Take out Boosted, and E10 too with a dash right through. He goes down, but thankfully for the rest of the Lokoyos, they can eliminate Clueless just off of that huge anti-nade to open in here.
Yeah, so in nature, double shield does not like compositions that get up in your face. They love to take space, or not take space, to have space, to be able to just spam damage down corridors. And Lokoyos did a great job of getting in there with their Winston and their D.Va, eating a lot of that damage. And then the big anti-nade from Meg Twinkie just set everything up perfectly. Meg Twinkie's gonna have to be very on point with these nades to set up good fights, as Clueless has swapped over to a Reinhardt composition, Sam. So they're just going to abandon this double shield, and I think it's maybe the smart thing to do. Ryan's probably gonna do a better job here of trying to hold the space that they're trying to take away from me, but a big kill onto that Cassidy.
That was huge. It's just coming down to all of these anti-nades from Meg. You can just... Laylock is being so patient. They know that when the anti-nade goes out, that's when they go in.
Exactly. As we said, Meg Twinkie has to be on point with these antis, and we've seen all series long, they've been exactly that. Excuse me. As lots of ultimates coming online here for Lakoyos. The big key here is going to be this this beat drop here. Are they going to use it aggressively here? But Boosted takes down the better end of Laylock.
Laylock just couldn't quite get away in time, tried to use the fist to get there. Shapeless is in a position where he needs to regroup with the rest of the team, but it doesn't look like Clueless knew where they were. And in a very commanding fashion, Clueless was actually able to push all the way back to the archway and at this bookstore corner.
Yeah, so what you're going to have to look to do here with this Reinhardt composition to be able to combat this dive here, you're going to want to hold a corner like they're holding this bookstore corner here. As soon as the dive comes in, you're going to need Boosted to stun them, and you need to farm up lots of damage between your Hanzo, your Cassidy, Reinhardt, your Zarya, and melt them, because dive is very fragile, so if you can just lower their mobility and ooh!
Okay, Dragon Blade from E10 has come out, takes out Cooler, but Boosted uses their Deadeye to eliminate them. Just not in time, though. Lakoyos, 3 ultimates committed there. That's a lot. But it looks like it's going to work out well for them as long as they're able to get the point.
Yeah, it should be a good chance that they deliver this point here with Eikener coming up on this shatter, but the main combination Clueless is coming up on is this grab dragons here, as that is just a deadly combination, especially with no immortality fields there.
I mean, at the very end of the day, they were able to get all the way up there, and you force also Eisinger to use their Earth Shatter in a position they're pushed up so far, they just want to go ahead and take out Meg Twinkie and build up ult charge towards their next Earth Shatter.
Yeah, you know, nice job at, you know, fending off this attack from Lakoyos. But they will have this nano engage on this next fight. If you're Castle, look to dive either this Cassidy or this Hanzo with the nano. You should be able to wipe them out very quickly, but the Zarya grab gets initiated.
Ooh, the grab dragon combo is coming up big here for Clueless. Deadly indeed against Lakoyos, who now have to regroup, but they still have ultimates of their own to work with, and therefore is Clueless to kind of burn through their own ultimates.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do that to continue to maintain this space and hold close here. One thing you could do here if you're AMLO, throw a bomb over their head as the nano's gonna come in, Sam.
Oh, there we go. All right, we also have the Earth Shatter puts in the backline AMLO, but they can just easily afterburner right on out of there. And that nano is big because Castle is eliminating almost everybody. We still have Eisinger, who pretty much left their entire team to die.
He does get the Ana in the back line, but it's not going to matter, as they're finally going to be able to start getting some progress here on the cart. You know, again, all they really have to work, they will have this beat drop. So, you know, what you'd save it for is, you know, maybe to save a teammate during the primal, or maybe if, you know, you're worried about, you know, the meteor strike that's coming in, you save it for that. But you do have the high noon here, and this could be key. As soon as they look to make this dive and they don't have their jumps to get out of there, or they don't have their boosters, or, you know, their punches, you high noon and look to eliminate them.
All right, Castle dived into the back line, put down the bubble, and now they've also popped the Primal Rage on top of that. And just like you said, they're gonna use the B, but it doesn't matter. Amlo with a double kill. Castle knocks Eisinger off the map. Oh, and here we are. The last few meters is all Lakoyos needs to do. E10 has that Dragon Blade, and it's going to come down to how well they're going to be able to use that. Boosted hits the Deadeye, and on top of that, Fresco uses the beat. E10 hiding out in this little cubby, waiting for the right moment to pop that Dragon Blade and seeing if they're going to be able to use it. But at this point, it might just be too little too late. Boosted has eliminated 2 members of your team, and so now you're going to have to gauge the situation. You want to go ahead and do it, and that's exactly what they are going to do here. We have Doctor. They use the bubble to stay alive for just a second longer. E10 gets a double kill. And with only one person, Eisinger and Cooler, I take that back. There is 2 people on here. That blade did come up big time here. Lakoyos needs to get back as quickly as they possibly can, but Cooler's Reaper switch was good enough to push off Lakoyos.
Wow, incredible. As you know, they're gonna force Laylock off this high ground too, with the Reaper being able to teleport up to the high ground. So they're now on this Ball Zarya composition as they're gonna swap around now that they don't have to stall anymore. They're gonna go back to the Reinhardt. As Lakoyos is also now on this Reinhardt composition. They're on Ryan Winston. Again, perplexing tank combination. As Ryan and Winston don't really sync up well together either, but it's kind of like this, it's like a cleaving type composition. We're gonna have Winston dive in.
That was a valiant immortality field that we saw Benji try to use. Oh! Down they go! Isugar sacrifices himself to get rid of Laylock, and it's going to be good enough for them to allow Clueless to push off Lakoyos, it looks like here. Amlo all by himself has to go ahead and start swinging that hammer, build up as much ult charge as you can before you go down, or at the very least get rid of Cooler. But in the meantime, while you're doing this, it was like we said at the beginning of the map, Ray, we have the Earthshatter coming out. Guess who's already coming back though? The rest of Clueless here. And Lakoyos, they have to make that long walk back here. Meg Twinkie is so low on health. Castle pops a Primal Rage in the backline. Boosted has to use the flashbang to stay alive, but it's just not going to be good enough. They're going to get bullied in the backline here. And it looks like the Lakoyos is coming up in the kill feed. All of them. And there you have it. Los Lakoyos takes King Row and beats out Clueless.
Yeah, nice job by Lakoyos. You know, that Reinhardt Winston composition, gonna say it's kind of like a cleaving type composition where you're going to want your Reaper to get in there, you want your Winston to get in there, and you're just looking to just do a whole lot of damage and just stop them from being able to, you're kind of like trying to cut off all avenues of them getting out and just doing a lot of damage. So, you know, nice job there from Los Lakoyos as they're going to be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good performance from the Los Lakoyos. They were able to stop Clueless at the very last second, which was really important for them to be able to do that. 66.62 meters, because that means they don't have to go all the way. And then they didn't go too crazy with ultimate usage either towards the end. They were restrained and they understood, okay, here's how Clueless likes to work. As long as we can eliminate the pain points, the Baptiste and the Cassidy, we should be okay.
And they did a nice job of staying calm. Like, okay, there's going to be a couple fights here where they're going to have the ultimate advantage, but we just need to get them out, and then we're going to be able to take advantage and start to really push this and win this here. So they did a nice job as they're moving on to the next round, like we said.
Yes, they are. And in the meantime, Ray, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. So, chat, don't go anywhere.
down your face as the sun sets on LA again. Have we lost our way?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Latency Community Recall event. We just saw Lokoyos versus Clueless, and Lokoyos coming out on top in a amazing finale on King's Row, Ray.
Yeah, it was action-packed, just crazy. You think it's going to go one way and then it goes the other way. There's a crazy matchup between the two teams, but we digress. We are moving on to the next match, and it is going to be the Outlawed Hydras versus Swarm.
Ooh, and these are two big teams that are ready to go up against each other. Their average SR for both of them, 4.4K, Ray. That is going to be... This is going to be a high-end, high-stakes game because, once again, you go through this. If you lose the series, you are out. There's no losers bracket. So everything is going to be kind of a little bit more tense, especially as we go to our first map of Oasis.
Yeah, no Li Zhang this time around. We are going to Oasis. Oasis is an interesting map. The three sub-maps, obviously there's University, there's Gardens, and there is City Center. And the three are vastly different in my opinion, and you can see vastly different compositions depending on which one you're on, as we're going to see City Center here first, and both teams already set up on this Ball Diva composition. And Sam, that's exactly what I was going to say is going to be the most opportune composition to run on City Center. So much room for you to work with. The ball just has so much area to play with, lots of different rollouts you can do, as it looks like Swarm is playing an Echo and Outlawed Hydras are playing this the Sombra, so we'll have to see what these symmetrics are going to swap over to after the TP.
Yeah, I'm going to be kind of interested in seeing how that's going to go. Both Tracers. Okay, so we have our teams set up here, and they know exactly what they want to do. The difference is the Echo going to be the right choice, or is the Sombra going to be the correct one here? Right now, the two teams are kind of rotating around each other as the Swarm finally do make their way onto the point. The Outlawed Hydras are still hiding out in this sort of gazebo area, rolling right on in. It's going to be St. JJ to contest. Suisse is going to activate those afterburners and continue to go after them. Brazel has the nice high ground. This is going to give them a really good position to figure out where they want to go. They're not going to be able to stay up for long. Finally pushed off from there by Diva. Flame is down though, and now the Outlawed Hydras, they take out Pongs on top of that. This looks like it's going to start going in their way, and the point is under their control.
Yeah, so like you said, the difference obviously between these two compositions is that Echo and that Sombra. So what this comes down to is, can Hydras take advantage of the hacks, which they've been doing beautifully so far with Akumu on this Sombra all the way up to 80% to the EMP, or are they going to be able to have the high damage output from the Echoes? I say that Punks has swapped over to the Soldier. I mean, still, is the consistent damage output from the Soldier going to come into handy for the Swarm over the hack from Akumu on Sombra, as they're going to continue to poke here. Smo does have this Pulse Bomb. You gotta look to stick the Zenyatta, maybe force out Transcendence here, Sam.
It's going to be so important for them to be able to land that Pulse Bomb, and already they've gone ahead and used the Transcendence right on cue, especially right on top of Smo's using their own Pulse Bomb. Kagane is going to push forward the rest of the team. Mines have gone down from St. JJ, so now it's just going to be a matter of staying careful here, but the Outlawed Hydras, they are in control of Oasis.
Yeah, doing an incredible job. Only had to use, they used mines on both their support ultimates there, so they're gonna have to get extremely aggressive here with this EMP if they want to be able to continue to hold defensively here, as Swarm will have the extended shields here from the rally from Maz coming into this fight.
We're sitting at 75%, and Akumu is going to hide in this corner, cloaked, and wait for the entirety of Swarm to push on through in order to use their EMP. Oh, but they were caught out at just the right second. They're forced to use the EMP, but it was canceled out thanks to the useful effect. But I say that even though it was canceled, Apostle throws in the self-destruct and takes out the 3 members of Swarm. They can't push in off of that, Ray.
Yeah, talk about, you know, bittersweet. You know, you get that perfect stun on the EMP, but then you just get completely stymied by that bomb. As the Diva Bomb is going to get initiated here onto the plane, it's not going to get anything, Sam, but the stick.
Ooh, the stick on the ball. Now Flynn is so desperately low on health that the Transcendence from Brazel had to come out in order to keep themselves alive. Another stick from Smo hits Jelly Dough, takes them out, and in the meantime, Punks was in a bad position that allowed Akamai to come up, eliminate them, take them out. Now we have a Brigitte versus Brigitte battle, but of course, St. JJ uses the pile driver, throws them up in the air, and Kagune is able to eliminate them here. A rally as the round is over, and Outlawed Hydras go up 1.
Yeah, unfortunate for Swarm, Sam. I just don't think the Soldier is a good option here for the Ball Diva composition. It's going to be tough, you know, Soldier, it's tough for him to combo up with the ball like you'd want him to be able to do. Really, he's just going to have long range, you know, obviously fire and poke, and that's just not going to do you any good, and you're pretty diveable if you're Soldier from the perspective of the opposite Ball Diva. As we're going to move to University here, we're going to see the full-on Reinhardt rush compositions. No surprise here. This is what University lends itself well to here, as they're going, as Swarm is going to play this May version of the composition, and I really like that. You get some really key walls here and separate St. JJ on this Reinhardt. Could come in great here for the Swarm.
And Akamai is going to go ahead and stick with the Symmetra, setting up the car wash inside of the doorway. And that's going to put Swarm not able to go through it. Otherwise, they're going to get a boatload of damage on top of them. Rotate around here and just fire through the archways. Outlawed Hydra is going to stay on the point. Unfortunately, Flynn was so far up they weren't able to get the immortality field down in time, and they go down. And now with Maz trying to keep the heals going, Defense Matrix from Sus to keep them alive for just a second longer, but Akamai can go right through that with the laser beam. Oh, and a beautiful wall. Gonna keep the rest of the team safe for a second there.
Yeah, and then Akamai on the Symmetra, between the May walls, the Rhyming Shield, is just going to be able to constantly farm up this beam and just start melting players on the Swarm as we saw in that first fight. It's only going to continue as they already have this Photon Barrier here, as they're going to use the window here, Sam.
They're going to use the window, the wall, to try and stop that, but Swarm is going to go ahead and go onto the other side, where they're going to use their own amplification matrix, so low on health for St. JJ, but the immortality field keeps them alive for just a second longer there. Blizzard has also been committed on top of that, takes them out, and Smoke on this Cassidy walks forward, eliminates the opposing Cowboy. Thanks to Akamai's shield wall, though, it kind of split off the moment, and I think Swarm were able to actually use that to a little bit of greater effect for themselves. The feat to try and draw out as much percentage as they possibly can, but a Earth Shatter to put them down on the ground. Swarm, for the first time on Oasis, is going to take the point.
Yeah, very costly fight there for Swarm. It took 4 ultimates to flip that point. But on the flip side, you did get Hydras to use 3 of their own. So you're still looking okay here in the ult economy battle. You're going to have to hope to get a lot of value out of this Swiss bomb. And you must save this beat for the Shatter here for St. John. You got to make sure you don't get beaten, get shattered here from the Reinhardt.
Right, there comes the beat already immediately. 2 kills on the board for Swarm. They are putting in the work and they're putting in the time, and everybody is going down. Squeeze is back inside of the mech. And that is the Outlawed Hydras on the back line here. We have one lone Akamai by themselves. I take that back along with Apostle, but that's going to be a nice stagger.
Hello.
Yeah, incredible work there from Swarm. They're doing a great job. They didn't have to use many ultimates. They just used the 2 they had. Yeah, they've been able to build up to this blizzard, so things are looking really good to continue to defend here. If you're the Outlawed Hydras, you've got to... They're going to swap over to the May themselves, Sam, and they're going to look to get the big walls. There's a big wall, and a blizzard gets thrown in.
They were able to get away from the blizzard by using a wall of their own thanks to the switch over on the May. The immortality field from Maz is going to keep them alive, but an earth shatter from Flint catches out almost the entirety of Outlawed Hydras, and they go down.
Yeah, incredible work from Swarm. It just looks like this Reinhardt composition that they've been running here favors them so much better than this Ball Diva, as Smo will have the high noon here, and being able to catch Outlawed Hydras out in rotation. You know, maybe you do an interesting play where you throw out the high noon and you have your Reinhardt charge the opposing Reinhardt to get into the shield. As interesting rotations here, Sam.
That was a really good rotation coming up from Swarm, because as the Outlawed Hydras put down their amplification matrix, Swarm was already on the other side of that wall. Akumu is going to be hit with the flashbang, and now they're not able to put down as much damage as they were hoping for here, saying JJ is going to be safe inside of the immortality field. But with already using that immortality field, the Outlawed Hydras have flipped the point back over, but Swarm is not going to let that distract them for too long here. Apostle is going to go ahead and throw out the self-destruct. Kagune is also going to be using the beat, where Apostle is now stuck inside of a corner with a very angry May, who's going to keep them locked down for just a second longer here. 2 kills on the side of the Outlawed Hydras is going to come forward, and the Swarm is on the back burner for now.
Yeah, as that should be pretty much a fight wrap up here for the Outlawed Hydras, as we are moving in to final fight for both teams here. For the Swarm, it's looking a lot better for them. They have this blizzard, which is going to be huge. You're going to have dueling blizzards, honestly, but the ult battle is just so in the favor of Swarm. I can't imagine them letting this get out of hand here, Sam.
Had to be very careful here. They have to watch out for the Akamai ball, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Blizzard thrown behind it. Doesn't look like anyone's going to be caught out with that, and Smile with an early pick onto Akumu. Flynn goes ahead and decides to use the Earth Shatter there, but unfortunately misses the charge on top of that. So very unfortunate, because guess what? On the other side of that, St. JJ gets the Earth Shatter of their own here. While we are in overtime, we have Flynn swinging the hammer, takes out, but no one to touch Ray.
Victory.
Outlawed Hydras takes Oasis.
Yeah, nice job there from the Hydras. They didn't let, Swarm, they took quite a decisive lead. They got that almost to 99%. They didn't let that, get to them. The rotations they did there on that one attack we saw, where both the windows got popped, and then Swarm rotated around, and then Hydras rotated the point, took the point, and then they played like they were defending from the Swarm's perspective. So that was just an incredible amount of realizing what was going on and making the counter rotation to the rotation that the Swarm was doing. So I think that play there was key to their victory.
The thing that confused me a little bit, Ray, was on the final team fight that they had, because Swarm's Reinhardt broke off. And I think the idea that they wanted to do was to get a nice Earth Shatter. But what happened was that they were read so easily by the Outlawed Hydras, and there was a wall up there. They committed so many ultimates to help keep themselves safe. And so the only person that was really caught out was the Diva in that Earth Shatter. And so with the only one being caught out, not only on top of that, they missed the charge, but guess what? The rest of your team was open to a fatty shatty.
Exactly, as we are just waiting to hear what the map coming in for the next map is going to be. Looks like we do have that in. Ooh. And we are going to Cuba. We're going to Havana here, Sam.
Havana, nice tropical time of year, I've heard. Anyways, this time of year is going to be a lot of fun to see how these two teams are going to go up against each other. Control is one thing, but now here we are, Havana, a pure push map. And so where I think the Outlawed Aces were in control the entire time on Control, I think Swarm are going to be able to flip the script a little bit here for themselves here. They look like they worked really well in these brawly type of compositions, and that's kind of what Havana lends itself to.
It could, but Havana also lends itself to the double shield type compositions where they want to just hold back on corners and spam a lot of damage. You could also play that Ball Diva style composition, a lot of high ground. You can roll up through the windows and cause a lot of chaos if you're Ball. So I think it's just going to come down to which composition the teams are favoring and how those compositions are going to interplay with each other and just how the teams respond to that.
I'm interested to see if we're going to have a Widowmaker on the defending team, if they're going to be bold enough to try and do that. Oh, my dreams are not going to be met. But still, though, let's take a look at these compositions, right? We have the Reinhardt Sigma composition of Swarm going against the pretty much pure dive of the Outlawed Hydras.
Yeah, what's probably going to happen here, Sam, is Swarm is looking to hold closer. They have this Mei, they have this Cassidy. So they're probably, as soon as the bell rings and the match begins, they're going to go straight to the spawn doors and they're looking to hold hard. Outlawed Hydras, however, are on this dive composition, so it's not as easy to hold them in a particular area. So it's just going to come down to, can Akuma on this Pharah pick off Smo and not get killed in the process and open things up here for the Outlawed Hydras?
Smo and Punk's are going to have their work cut out for them against the Akumu Akamai Tracer Pharah combination. And so, like you said, we're just going to have to see how well they're going to be able to handle against that. St. JJ is the one who's going to get hit with a flashbang grenade and goes down almost immediately. And Swarm are getting two high-value picks right off the bat in the Outlawed Hydras. Trying to decide which interest they want to go out of now.
Yeah, unfortunate for Akumu there on the Pharah, was kind of playing just on that roof, not really moving around a lot, staying in one spot, and that makes it just easier for Smo and Flynn to just shoot at the Pharah. As the Pharah's going to continue to just stay in that one area on the roof there, Sam, not making it hard for them to shoot her.
It really comes down to Tracers, Akamai's Tracer, to be able to distract the team of Swarm long enough. Suisse is going to be hit with the anti-nade. Down goes Smile, but not before they eliminate St. JJ. But of course, you know, we have the defensive spawns here. This is going to work out really well for them. Mai's trying to take out Akumu as best they can, but they just don't have enough DPS to go through the healing of Kagune. It looks like the Outlawed Hydras are gonna be able to push the Swarm off in a second here. Smo on the quick switch over to the Widowmaker, but still, buying as much time Punks is going to be doing here. There we go. Eliminated. Payload is going to start pushing forward.
Yeah, they took almost a minute and a half on the clock, and they're going to be able to get another. There is a big headshot from Smo is going to come in there, Sam, but they were able to build up to this blizzard here for the second fight. Akumu responding with the rocket barrage could be the difference maker here. I think it's going to come down to getting a good blizzard here for Punks, or Akumu putting himself in a good position to get a great barrage.
And now we have Akamai throwing out the pulse bomb. Takes out Punks, was inside of the immortality field. Akumu, who used their rocket barrage and I think killed themselves on Maz's immortality field, unfortunately for them, but there's still a couple of picks going out on the side of the Outlawed Aces even through that death. Getting rid of that allowed St. JJ to take out one member of the Swarm. Flynn has been hit with the anti-nade, but Brazel and Maz are going to use both of their ultimates. The beat and the amplification matrix are down here as well, but the Outlawed Hydras are kind of all over the place at the moment, trying to take out any weakened target that they possibly can. Punks is hit with the anti-nade too. They've used their blizzard, and now the Outlawed Hydras have lost Akumu and Jelly Dough. Swarm have got the defense back on their side. They've gotten their footing once again.
Yeah, it took Hydras lots of ultimates to be able to get to that point, so then the ultimate economy was in the favor of Swarm. As Outlawed Hydras, Akumu swapping off the Pharah over to this Ashe, looking to try and duel out Smo on this Widow. Obviously, Widow has a better one-shot potential here, but Ashe has a lot more utility, so we're going to see what is going to come bigger here for each of the...
I can see that Smo wants to go ahead and take advantage of some really good angles. A gravitic flux. No one's going to be caught inside of that. St. JJ, all they have to do is go gold to stay alive in that. Sweets is just going to go ahead, press W, walk forward, and lay down the Earth Shatter. Never mind, I take that back. It looked like they wanted to go ahead and do that, but just wasn't quite in a position, I think, where they were happy to do that. But now with Brazel and Sweets off the field, Outlawed Hydras are going to push forward in off of that. The Amplification Matrix to try and stall them out, but Apostle pokes right on through. Doesn't really matter for them. And there you have it. The Outlawed Hydras are going to keep pushing this payload to point A.
Yeah, Swarm will get another attempt at this defense here with Sweets coming in with the Shatter. Punks has now swapped over to take the Tracer duel with Akamai. We'll have to see if that is going to be a victory here for Punks to be able to win this Tracer duel.
Sweets has to walk through. They really want to use that Earth Shatter, but in every attempt that they do, it's just so much damage. Either from Akumu, St. JJ, he goes down almost immediately. Smoke poke their head out for just a split second, and it was knocked clean off by Akumu. Punks here in the backline wants to kill Jelly Dough, but it's just not going to be happening, Ray.
Yeah, Outlawed Hydras are doing a really good job of healing for anyone trying to go after their backline. We saw that with Punks there. Now swapping over to the Hanzo. So they're going full, as I say that, going to the Cassie. So this is still a full-on poke composition. Ryan Sigger going to look to hold high ground here. Allows Smo and Punks to look for picks. But just the nature of the Orisa having more spam damage on shield is going to be a lot clutcher with a big dynamite.
Ooh, that dynamite was huge, and Bob is already thrown down on the field, and you can see that Brazel wanted to go down inside of the basement, but that was going to put them into their death sentence. Still, they die by the hands of Kagune. So much damage coming out from Akumu. It was Ash. I mean, they got multiple picks there, and the Outlawed Hydras, they're pushing to point B full speed ahead.
Oh, yeah, Akamai does have this Pulse Bomb and Apostle with the Flux, so you could combo, like, if you can get a lot of them with this Flux, and then you can get an easy Pulse Bomb as they're dropping down. But they're going to like to go with the Supercharger here, Sam.
Well, yeah, they are, and Akumu is already putting in the work. All right, a Pulse Bomb being thrown, but in the time that they were able to throw that Pulse Bomb, Swarm was already dead.
Yeah. The power of the Supercharger just boosting everyone's DPS and just allowing them to swarm essentially and wipe them off the map of Havana, as they're gonna get the second point here, and with the point Cat B's, they're gonna use the Flux here.
Oh my word, thrown up into the air and back down. You bait out the Immortality Field on top of that, and St. JJ pushes forward. The Amplification Matrix from Swarm is going to do a lot of damage here, and for the first time in a very long time, Swarm is going to push the Outlawed Hydras off the payload. But guess where those spawns are, Ray?
Yeah, just right there, Sam, is they're gonna have to elect to they're gonna need to back off here, Sam. Brazel, but they're not. Sweets and Brazel are just gonna take the L here and hope to find another day on the corner of the bridge.
A very unfortunate position for them here. I'm gonna be honest with you too, Ray. I think committing to the Widowmaker is going to be a dangerous proposition for them here. It was like you said, it's just not as much utility as Ash has.
Yeah, and they have now made full swaps to mirror this, Sam. They are now on this Orisa Sig. They're going to the double shield. The only thing that's different is Punks is on this Hanzo, so they're going to have a little bit more spam damage, but if Akami can get onto the back line of the Zen Bat, it's going to be crazy, Sam.
My word almighty. All right, Akumu throws down the bomb, but in doing so was not paying attention to the Widowmaker, who knocks their head clean off. Bob is still on the field, and now where Smo was going to try and take out Kagane, instead Akamai is going to come up from behind, but Brazel was there too, so it was just looking out for each other. Here we are, Ray, the Outlawed Hydras, they push back. Swarm is on the payload for now.
Yeah, as they're going to be able to finally hold some ground here with this double shield. As Snow gets the better end of the Widow duel. Akamu gets headshot as the Flux comes in for the Hydras, however.
Oh, Gravitic Flux up on the field. That Immortality Field is the savior here once again, but it's just not good enough. The Outlawed Hydras cleaving through the Swarm. Oh, the grapple hook to get away. Looks like they were able to do it safely, but they got to get back quick. No, they weren't. They die.
Yeah, as final fight here, as you're gonna get maybe is the supercharger gonna get popped? Are they even gonna be able to touch here, Sam?
It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. The shield comes up from Apostle. They are able to touch. It's going to be one pick, but Akumu and Kagune are just so powerful right now. Anyone who tries to even attempt to come close to this payload is going to be met with instant death. There you have it. The payload goes all the way. It was in overtime though, Ray, but the Swarm have their work cut out for them.
Switching sides.
Yeah, so again, Outlawed Hydras have given themselves a key victory here, Sam, as it is 1-2 still. So getting all 3 points here sets themselves up so well, as Swarm is going to have one amazing comeback here. But I think they can, as you know, they've shown flashes of greatness here, Sam. So I think they have a chance to come back.
And now the win condition's been set, Ray. The Outlawed Hydras just need to make sure that the Swarm cannot go all the way. But it's like you said, Swarm has the capabilities to be able to go all the way. They have moments where their team is able to work well together, but it's just like some really weird decision making sometimes, like going all the way up to the spawn room of the Outlawed Hydras when they were already so low on health.
Yep.
And just stay there.
Yeah, I agree. You know, some of the decision making from Swarm has been, you know, for lack of a better, just very questionable. As looks like Outlawed Aces are going to take a page out of the Swarm's book. They're going to hold close here with this same composition, with that Bap Lucia, with the Ryan Sig and the May Cassidy here. As Swarm playing the ball Sig, trying to combat this. Can Punks on this Genji look to get a pick in the back line and open things up here? Looks like Akumu's going to take first blood on Smo.
Yeah, Smo just couldn't quite get back inside of the gas station in time to the safety of the point. You can see that Punks is trying their best to distract. Smo making the quick switch off from the Soldier 76 onto Cassidy. Now the question is if that's going to be good enough.
Yeah, as picks are, as the fight's going to continue to ensue, ball gets frozen, going to be able to roll back into spawn just barely. As Outlawed Hydras are doing an incredible job here. St. Gigi gets the pick onto Punks, as they're just going to continue to play extremely slow, extremely methodical, and just not allowing any kind of room here for Swarm.
The Outlawed Hydras are so coordinated as well. They're working really fast and quick together. I mean, the second that Flynn decides to go down to the ground, they either get hit with the smile flashbang, and then their health goes down almost immediately to where they need to back out and not really be able to do anything. And no one else from the Swarm is able to capitalize on what Flynn is trying to do. Sweet goes down, Punks though gets a kill onto Akamai, and Smell eliminates Akumu 2 on top of that. So both the DPS for the Outlawed Hydras have gone. This is a good moment for the Swarm to regroup here and try and push off the Outlawed Hydras while they're down 2 members.
Yeah, exactly, and their spawns are going to be basically across the pond. They have such a great distance to be able to get back, and getting the Baptiste here should all but not stop this close hold here from the Hydras.
Oh, what a good sleep from Maz. Very well done as they're being targeted by Apostle. The rest of the team comes in to save the day, and now the payload is going to start moving forward, but Outlawed Hydras burned a good chunk of that timer.
Yeah, but the key thing is, Sam, Swarm did not use a single ultimate to be able to do that. So now they have a full 6-stack here to work with. I like to call it a 6-pack. As they're looking really good here to continue this. But the Nano Blade's gonna get invested!
Nano Blade is huge! Already comes up with 2 onto Akumu. Kagane makes that 4-way! The Swarm is in style right now. A nice stagger onto Apostle. The Outlawed Hydras, they use only 3 ultimates to get that team kill.
Yeah, you know, incredible there from Swarm. They were able, like you said, bank 3 ultimates coming in. They're going to be able to get another touch here. So you're trying to force out some more ultimates from Swarm to be able to get this, and there's the flex.
That was a big rabbinic flex, but a counter. Deadeye gets 3 members of the Swarm. Akumu thought to themselves, well, if a Genji can get 4 with a Dragon Blade, I can get 4 with 3 Deadeye and 1 regular kill of my own.
Wow, incredible. If you're Swarm, that's just got to be a gut punch. You thought you were going to get that, use all 6 of your ultimates to try and get that point delivered, and it just didn't come to fruition. And now if you're Hydras, you're able to hold this corner, and you have the window here to stop any kind of space that Swarm wants to take here.
It's gonna be tense now too, Ray. We're in the final 30 seconds, so everything is on the line here. Smile has been taken down, and so now the push is a little less than what it should have been. The anti-nade comes through, hits a few members. The Outlawed Hydras are gonna be able to take out Kagune, but guess what? Brazil is also gone. On top of that, now we have Flynn, who's trying to disrupt as best they can, but with Punk's gone, I mean, we are less than 10 seconds, Ray. They gotta go in, and they gotta go in now. The Swarm does not have much time to work with here, and the beat is coming out from Kagune. We're into overtime. Flynn is gone, eliminated. The rest of the Swarm, we see that Smile and Punk's gonna have to try and put in the effort. Boz is on the Ana with the blade. They are gonna hit the Nano Blade, but the Immortality Field is gonna keep themselves alive here, and there was nothing that Punks could do. It wasn't gonna be as huge as the first time they did that, and Ray the Outlawed Hydras have swept through Havana to take the match and series win.
Yeah, incredible job from the Hydras. They have just looked like the more impressive, more coordinated team. You know, when things were, looking bad here on the second point, they just were patient, knew they had the spawn to get another defense, and they set Akumu up to pop off Sam Egg. He did an incredible job there.
An incredible job is absolutely the truth. We've been seeing the Cassidy has been the pick for tonight. It's been putting in so much work and putting in so much effort to secure kills. The Deadeye has been huge multiple times over on both of the matches that we've seen tonight so far. And we really just had to give it to the Outlawed Hydras too. They knew what they wanted to do, and that was to win. And that is exactly what they did.
And they're going to be moving on to the next round to fight a oh-so-familiar team to us. They'll be going against the DK Fan Club.
What? I know those guys. We've seen them play. We've casted for them in Contenders. So make sure you stick around to watch that. We're going to throw it to a quick break, and we'll be right back.